The Parks Committee will come to order, and we'll note that all members are present: Alderman Johnson, Alderman Nicholson, Alder Burnett, Alder Weary. Can I have an approval of the agenda? Second. Motion by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alder Burnett. Any changes? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. That was the agenda. Approval of the minutes.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Alder Burnett, second by Nicholson. Any changes? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Regular business. Number 1, consideration with possible action on the request from Wisconsin Public Service for a 12-foot wide utility easement on East River Optimist Park to provide an electric service to the new concession stand. Director.
All right, so the Parks Department, we're in the process of completing a major renovation at East River Optimist Park. You'll see in the agenda packet that we do have a map in there along with the proposed easement. So we recently expanded the parking lot and also created some ADA accessible walks to all of the ball fields in the parking lot. And there is currently a donor group that we're working with who is funding the construction of a new concession stand with restrooms, and that is under construction as we speak. So the concrete slab is in place. The majority of the underground utilities are already to the stand, and we're now working with WPS to bring a service, electric service, to this stand and restrooms. So in order for WPS to do the work, they need the approval of an easement on our property, which will allow them to bring service to that concession stand. So it's kind of standard procedure with WPS. So I have the attached agenda in the packet, as I mentioned. This is our standard draft language for other easements that have been approved in the Parks Department. The Law Department and Public Works have both reviewed the attached easement, and we're all okay with it from a staff level. So what I'm seeking is approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Johnson. Any questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 2, consideration with possible action on hiring the lowest responsible vendor to tighten bolts on the Zip and Pippin roller coaster at Bay Beach Amusement Park. Director Ditchite.
Sounds comforting. All right, so when the Zip and Pippin was built, we received a schedule of the recommended maintenance inspections and procedures for that inspection. Coaster was built in 2011, and per the manufacturer's recommendations, we are now due for routine bolt tightening throughout the entire ride. So as you can imagine, it's a wood roller coaster with a lot of bolts. There's quite a few bolts on the coaster, and many of the bolts are not even accessible by machinery because the interior ones, we can't get machinery in there to reach those bolts. So therefore, whichever contractor we select to tighten the bolts, they'll be required to have the necessary skills in climbing the structure. And then in addition, because this is a wood structure, there are strict guidelines for tightening the bolts. So the concern is if you get a contractor who doesn't know what they're doing, they can over-tighten the bolt and actually cause damage to the wood structure. So there is a procedure that has to be followed. So for that reason, we worked with the purchasing department to initiate a request for proposals instead of a request for quotes. And by doing that, we were able to review the quotes on more than just the final cost. We then had a team of individuals who scored the companies based on experience with similar type of work, their proposed execution and safety methods, references, and finally the pricing attached to it. So I handed out a copy of the summaries of the proposals that we received. We did receive 5 proposals. I apologize, this wasn't in the packet. We just received the proposals on Monday. That's why it wasn't in the agenda packet. The prices range from $51,025 to $273 or $273,400. As a staff, we're recommending that we award the contract to the company that received the highest score in the review process, and therefore we're recommending MVR, which is Martin Flemings. Their quoted price is $71,272, and it's the second lowest quote. And as it turns out, this is also the company that manufactured the ride initially and supplied the supervision for the construction of the site, for the construction of the ride. So they're very familiar with our roller coaster and rules and methods. In addition, that company does specialize in roller coaster construction, and they have constructed many wood roller coasters. That being said, I invited Greg Barta, who is our lead mechanic, to talk to you a little bit more about the scoring system and why we are recommending Martin Fleming's over the low quote, because there are some significant reasons why we're choosing the second lowest quote. So, step forward, Greg.
Mr. Barta, come on down.
Thank you.
You're the next contestant.
Thanks. First off, I'm Greg Barta. The reason we're going with Martin Fleming's over Northwest Coasters is there's in the scope of work, they did not provide us with any, as far as number of technicians, the time. They gave us 3-week time lead, but they did not give us a start date or an end date. And part of that reason is we are updating the controls this year in the zip and pip, which is already approved. We have to have the cars on the track by the middle of April to do the testing, so we're open for May 3rd or 4th opening. They also did not provide a project manager, where MVX is going to have a project manager with substantial experience. He's OSHA and AIMS certified, and he's done this type of work before. They are also giving us a warranty through MVX, a 1-year warranty, where there's no warranty through Northwest Coasters. They did not. They provide us with some tools that they were going to use, but they're not the proper tools. They're going to use the torquing method, which you cannot torque wood because you're just going to keep squeezing in on the wood and end up wrecking the wood if you try torquing them. And most of their work that Northwest has been done where they are supervised by the manufacturer of the ride. So, with that being said, MVX is the manufacturer, and they're not going to send someone up here to supervise bolt tightening. So we feel much better having MVR do it.
Thank you, Mr. Barta. Any questions from the committee?
Motion to approve.
One moment there, Alder.
Just a quick question.
Alder Schroeder.
I just was wondering, thank you, Chair. I was just wondering how often you have to do this. I mean, we haven't done this yet, have we?
We have done it ourselves approximately 4 times now.
So every couple of years?
Every couple of years.
Okay.
But we've only done parts, and parts of it we can't get. We end up hiring a couple guys for the Forestry department to come in and do some of it for us. But we need it done by per the manufacturer. It's supposed to be done now.
In the past, we've done like a phased approach to tightening the bolts,
Yeah.
but now we're to the point where we have to do them all at once, and it's much larger task than what we can accomplish this year with the staff we have.
Alder Burnett?
Yes, I don't know who would be best to answer the question, but one of the minimum specifications when you have a scoring, what's worth 20 points is execution of scope of work, safety program, number of people assigned, list of equipment using, timeline, completion, information you believe. And there seems to be a whole lot, whereas it would be nice to get a score on more narrow things.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like a lot of things have been lumped in, and gentlemen, you had, what was your name?
Greg.
All right. So you had mentioned the speed of the work being completed, whereas for me, safety would be the highest priority. So if it takes longer, I mean, ideally you want the zip and pip and open, but if it's a point system of, can this get done quicker so it opens when the park opens, or is it safety first? So why is so much lumped in this section?
Yeah, so how we set this up with the scoring system is 50 points altogether is for experience in similar projects, and also safety recommendations. So how are they going to propose to do it? Does it match with what we feel is the appropriate way to be safe for these type of things? The other 50%, 20 of it is references. Obviously, it's important to be able to contact the similar type facilities and see how these companies have handled similar projects. But also, we thought that there might be a fairly significant difference in price between the vendors. So we wanted enough points in that scoring system so that if there was a significant difference in price, we do take that into account, because some of the other companies that quoted on it, definitely their price is much higher, and I'm sure that they have similar skill sets. So
Yes.
price needs to be a part of that also.
Narrow my question a little bit more
Sure.
is that safety for me, obviously price is a consideration, but
Yeah.
for me, safety is number one. That would be, for me, the highest criteria for points. And my point is that it's lumped in with so many other things, and it's
Yeah.
20 points. So I would have liked to see safety, and then, it's 10%, for example, or 10 points, and then I could judge this. I mean, I know you're professionally competent, and obviously I think you're confident in the lowest responsible bidder, if that's the word, bidder, because I think it's purple. But anyways, going forward, do you feel that safety was a high priority when you prepared
Well,
this?
I think in the end, with how the point system cumulatively worked out, I think that the company that has proven to us in their proposal that they have a safer history, or I don't know if I'm phrasing that right, but at least they have approached it to us and proposed it to us. We feel confident that the company that secured the most points in the scoring system also has a better proposed safety plan presented to us than the low bidder. So in this situation, although we may have structured it a little bit differently, we feel confident that the point system that we set up worked out and addressed our safety concerns with how it was set up.
Okay.
So
Thank
we can
you.
look at doing it.
Yeah, it's just would be nice safety as a standalone.
Yeah.
As part of the committee, I was one of the three that was a strong suit that we looked at, because the gentleman, the project manager, has with 30 hours of OSHA and AIM certification training. So that's all
part of
safety.
safety.
We definitely took that into consideration.
Thank you. Thank you, Alder Johnson.
Thank you. Just a couple of quick questions. One is, in the request for proposal, did we indicate what the deadline was?
April 15th.
Okay, so,
Yes.
and the reason I bring that up is because Director Ditchett, you had mentioned that this NWC couldn't guarantee that it would be done by then?
They did not give us anything in their proposal as far as a date, a start date. We asked for a start date, and we gave them the finish date.
Okay, so if the finish date is April 15th, though,
Correct.
like
But they never even gave us
They
a
can't
start
honor
date.
that.
I don't know if they can or not. They did not tell us.
It was unclear in their
It was- yeah.
proposal.
Okay, and then the other comment was about like the tools or technique that NWC is using is one that could potentially damage the product. Do we dictate what tools and technique they have to use?
No, we did not.
Is there a reason we didn't?
Because there's a lot of different tools that can be used, but the tool they stated does not work on a roller coaster. It's more for a metal roller coaster than a wooden roller coaster.
Okay. So if this is
There's-
something we put out to bid in the future, is that a modification we can make to the RFP so that way we can avoid even having them on the list if they're not going to bring the right tools? I mean, I
We
think it
can
would be a
listen.
worthwhile thing to
Yeah.
be clear up
Yeah,
front.
definitely.
Yeah.
And then maybe this is just me not being a mechanic, so to me, when I hear like these are the specifications, either you meet them or you don't. Is it not that black and white?
As far as, I don't understand.
Like if you, so for example, it seemed that we were giving a little bit more weight to MVR, and the reason, of course, I'm asking the question is because we are talking about a difference of $20,000. To me, it would be like, it's nice that you manufactured the roller coaster, but I don't know that it should give you any more credit in the scoring system, because either you do the job right or you don't.
Right. We did not take that into consideration, that they were the original manufacturer. That was not brought up in any of our conversations. It's just the information they gave us, their scope of work was a lot more clear as to what they're going to do compared to Northwest.
Okay, understood.
Northwest has only been in business 3 years, and I think this is one of their first, I think this is the first time they're venturing into this field. They've done a lot of work on steel roller coasters.
Mhm.
They refurbished one wooden roller coaster is all they've done so far. So I think they're trying to get into it, but
And I guess to kind
in the
of,
future, they may get more experience, and we may look at them then.
Okay, thank you for those explanations.
Okay.
and I guess one thing I wanted to add to that is, one thing we did request in the proposal is that they give us the information talking about number of employees that are going to be working on it, how many supervisors, what their safety plan is, and we asked for all of that information to be provided in the proposal. And the low vendor, Northwest Coasters, did not provide the number of trained technicians in their proposal. They did not provide information on who the project manager is and what their expertise is. They did not provide any information on what equipment they're going to use for lifts. They did not provide a safety plan, and they did not provide a start date. They said it would take 21 days, but they didn't tell us what day they were starting and what day they were going to complete. So their proposal was just more incomplete than MVR's, and it was a combination of those things we asked for that they didn't provide that really they scored lower than MVR. It wasn't the fact that MVR worked on our coaster.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve staff recommendation with maybe an add-on to that, that we make a couple modifications to the request for proposal in the future to be a little bit more specific with the technique and things of that nature, and to also give NWTC that feedback about why their proposal was incomplete. The reason I'm requesting that we do that is because if this is a company that we could potentially work with and could potentially save the taxpayers $20,000 a year, it would be nice to give them that information so that they provide a complete bid next time.
Would you be able to kind of clarify that motion and summarize it a little bit more for me?
Yeah, so my motion is to approve the staff recommendation, add to the RFP the tools and technique that needs to be used for future proposals, and to tell NWTC why their application was incomplete.
I'll second that.
Motion by Alderman Johnson, second by Alder Burnett. Alder Johnson, were you referring just to this specific RFP for taking down the requirements, just when this goes out again, or are you referring to like all?
Well, I'm referring to this one simply because I haven't heard this level of feedback before, you know, in terms of an incomplete submission. And again, if this is a new company, and they haven't done a lot of bids like this, but they're capable of doing the work, maybe they just need a little bit of feedback to ensure that they're meeting our request appropriately.
Yeah, no, we can definitely follow up with them moving forward.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Thank you. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Informational staff presentation, this is number 1, of the Bay Beach Wildlife Sanctuary as a participant in the Give Big Green Bay fundraising campaign. Information only. Director.
Yeah, so we are very excited to announce that the Bay Beach Wildlife Sanctuary was named one of the 40 nonprofit community-wide selected to participate in the Give Big Green Bay event. So this event is a 24-hour online giving event designated to or designed to rally our community around local nonprofits. So from noon on February 18th through noon on February 19th, the community will be asked to go online and show their support of the 40 pre-selected charities through donations. This is the 3rd annual event, and it's sponsored by the Greater Green Bay Community Foundation. And there is a matching grant from the Green Bay Packer Foundation, which will help every dollar that people donate go a little bit further to these charities. So when people go online, they can select whichever of the 40 charities they want and decide how much they want to donate and give to that charity. So it's been very successful throughout the last 3 years or the last previous 2 years. We're very happy that the sanctuary was selected for this process. So, you know, as you know, our mission at the sanctuary is to provide a place for wildlife rehabilitation, environmental education, recreation, and refuge. So annually, we rehab over 6,000 orphaned, injured, and ill animals. And due to the increase in demand for helping these animals, the sanctuary has now grown to be the largest rehabilitation facility in the state of Wisconsin. So every year we grow a little bit more. We're currently the largest facility that rehabs animals. So as our demands grow, so do our necessity for updating facilities and having the resources to meet these demands. So all of the donations for this event will go directly to assist with the animal rehabilitation program. So we're very excited about it. We wanted you to be aware of it. We hope that you help spread the information that the sanctuary was selected as one of these, and encourage people you know to go online and donate towards the sanctuary and other charities. I mean, there's a lot of good charities that were selected along with us.
And did you or your office have to apply to be in that, or?
Yes. So our office applied for it. There was an application process. I don't know offhand how many applicants there were, but I do know that not every applicant was selected.
Well, whoever did the applying, give them a thanks.
Thanks.
Good job.
There was Lori Bankson and Ariana Care.
Is there a link online at all? I know.
There will be.
Okay.
So we'll be putting a lot of press out there in the next 2 weeks. And we'll do that in conjunction with the Greater Green Bay Community Foundation. And the word will be out. There'll be a lot of press releases, a lot of news stories the day of the event. And we'll be advertising wherever we can for it. So you'll be seeing that.
If you could share that with us too, I'd like to share it on our social media.
Yeah, we will pass that information on to all of the elders.
Thank you. Any questions, gentlemen? No? Can I get a motion to receive?
Motion to place on file.
Motion by Alder Johnson, second by Alder Burnett. Discussion. Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Director's report.
All right. So, ice rinks. So we've had some ice rinks out there, but it's been a challenge this year. Once we get the ice rinks to where they're looking good, it snows and it sets us back a little bit, or it gets warm and it sets us back a little bit. So we're still trying to evaluate and trying to get the ice rinks ready. But once it becomes early February, it becomes increasingly more difficult to keep the ice rinks ready. Because what happens is the angle of the sun, although the temperatures might be there, the angle of the sun makes a difference, and it tends to melt the snow a little bit quicker, or melt the ice quicker. So come early February, we reevaluate whether or not we put any effort into maintaining those ice rinks. So we still have a little bit of time left, but our time is short with the rinks. So we'll keep you updated on that. Tree removals. So we're now, because the ground is frozen, we've kind of moved into the parks and we've been removing trees as we need to. We couldn't get in there in the fall and summer and spring very much because the ground was so wet. So right now, if you've been out to Badger Park, you'll see that we've done a lot of clear cutting at Badger Park. The reason we clear cut it is because those were all ash trees and they were all infected with emerald ash borer. So what used to be kind of a heavily forested park is now pretty open. So we have a lot of green space now and open area for people to run. So it looks different, but that's the reason behind it.
I noticed, Dan, that my parents lived there, so I driven by and I noticed that, and I know that park is used. The apartment complex across the street. We ever considered, is that, now that it's cleared, with like a soccer field or something that?
We are looking at that. We actually had a request to put in some soccer goals there, and we can fit a medium-sized soccer field. So once we clear out the stumps, we'll evaluate how easy it would be to kind of grade it out to a soccer field and maintain grass. So we are looking at that, and the request came to us. So, and then we are doing some clearing at Bay Beach Amusement Park right now for our upcoming beach project. So that's working. Colburn Pool. So renovation continues there. The building is about 95% complete. But the contractor has pulled off site now until the spring. So most of the work that remains is outside work, and you have to wait for the snow to clear, wait for the site to warm up a little bit, and then they'll start work on the pool basin and installing the liner. But the building is about 95% complete, along with the basement mechanical room.
Looks nice. A lot of people are complimenting it. I see the name went up.
Yeah, so it's definitely getting there. In addition, we recently put out an online survey, the Parks Department did, to gather community input on just the general service of our parks. So what we'll use that information for is to get more information on what parks are being used the most, what the community members use in the parks the most, what facilities do they use, where do they feel we're lacking as a city in the parks, and then we're gathering input on what they'd like to do differently. So we hope to utilize all of this information and compile it all and update our outdoor rec plan. So we're required to update that every 5 years in order for us to qualify for DNR grant funding. So we are going to be updating it this year in 2020. So we're hopeful that this community survey will will help us assist with determining what the community needs are for parkland in the city.
Is that survey out already?
It is out. It was out. We put it out about 2 weeks ago. We'll be winding it down in about 2 more weeks. We can send a link. I know that some of the information has gone out. I know Alderman Weary sent it out to his constituents, and we'll pass it on to everybody else for you to do the same. So
Colbert.
I didn't even catch the link when it came out, so.
the last thing I want to mention is Frosty Family Fun Night will be held on February 1st on Saturday. So this event will run from 5 to 8. It's held at the Bay Beach Wildlife Sanctuary. It's a great event. So we have, treats, crafts, snowshoe hikes, horse-drawn wagon rides, live music. This year we're bringing a food truck. We've never had a food truck out there. Our animal ambassadors will be out there making an appearance, and it's just a great event. So we decorate it with Christmas lights. We try to make it very festive. We do candle lights along the nature trail so that people can do night hikes in a candlelit environment. We have a bonfire, so it's a great event. If you've never been there, go and enjoy it. It's well worth your time. So that concludes my director's report.
Questions?
Motion to receive and place on file.
Second.
Motion to receive and place on file. Alder Burnett, Alder Johnson. Discussion. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Tentatively next meeting, February 12th.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We're out. Just in time.